Now you've got a stack of cards right there I bet you want to talk about, but first we need to talk about WandaVision. You've got the last episode. Now I managed to avoid any spoilers before I got a chance to see it yesterday. And it was a longer episode than normal. It was 50 minutes instead of the 30 minutes that the others had been.
I thought it was supposed to be 2 hours. I don't know where I got that from.
Pulled out of your ass probably, but anyway, hi kids. Yeah, we're up to PG-13. If I drop an F-bomb, we go to R. Anyway, episode 9 hits and spoilers. You know what? Let's not even spoil it. We'll just talk about some general things that I picked up in it. White Vision is now out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We now know that it was Agatha all along, and boy, did she get her plate licked, let's say.
Yeah.
And the best part is the Scarlet Witch. You actually had, and I just saw this on Film Theory, and I kind of scratched my head until they pointed it out, and then I was like, okay, I see it. Are you ready for something that'll blow your mind?
Oh.
You're always ready for a blow job. Anyway, there's the R rating. Now, have you ever heard of Squadron Supreme?
No.
The Squadron Supreme. Okay, the Squadron Supreme is a Marvel thing they've had since, what, the 70s? Late 70s, early 80s. Right around there. I think Mark Grunwald came up with the idea. It's basically their version of the Justice League. So in other words, they do, not parodies, but like XBs. It's a thinly veiled version. They have a thinly veiled version of like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, and yada, 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 yada.
Right.
Okay. So the Squadron Supreme comes from a different dimension than the main Marvel universe, but they show up and give the Avengers trouble. They show up and give the Fantastic Four trouble. They show up and give the X-Men trouble. Mainly the Avengers. They love messing with the Avengers for some reason. But anyway, so like I said, you got the main core 6 or 7.
Right.
Okay. And then you have some other Justice League characters who get XBs over time. Okay. There is one who, and after watching this on Film Theory, I have to say, yeah, I can see that. There is a character in the Squadron Supreme from the comic books who is a witch. She may have popped up in this series, and it flew right under everybody's radar just the way the filmmakers wanted them to. Okay? Okay, so, and this is hilarious. If you look at Agnes, Agatha Harkness, if you look at Agnes, all of her magic, whenever she does magic, it's purple. And if you look in her front yard, all of the flowers thing in her front yard is purple.
Okay.
So, in Wanda's magic is red.
No.
And all of her flowers are red. All the flowering things in her yard is red.
Okay.
There's another lady. She was more of a blonde, and she tends her garden, and all of her flowers are yellow. The witch with the Squadron Supreme, and I can't think of what her name was right now.
Are you talking about the one that was over the
one who, remember For the Children? They were talking about For the Children, and she had like this little pool party or something going on.
The one that cut her hand and stuff.
That's her. She's a witch, but she's from another dimension, and the idea is she's visiting from the dimension next door where the Squadron Supreme is, and she's scouting the Marvel Universe out. Now, Agatha has already told Wanda that she's going to be the one to destroy the world. Wanda's going to destroy the entire universe. The whole thing's going to shatter apart, come back together, but now there's going to be another witch hanging in there, probably to help bring it back together, but not the way anybody knows it. So this way they can sit there and recast everybody. You can have your Captain America back, your Iron Man back, your Thor back, but they will be in played by different actors, or more likely actresses. And they're thinking this is going to start leading up to Doctor Strange and the infinite weirdness and whatever that is. But so there may have been a third witch in WandaVision. But the thing is, this time it's going to be, and this is probably what they're leading up to at the end of Phase 4 before they start Phase 5. Yeah, they've already got it planned out. The end of Phase 4, we'll see the Avengers take on the Justice League. Now, if DC will have no involvement, it'll be the Avengers versus the Squadron Supreme, but it's going to be pretty blatant who the Squadron Supreme really is.
Wow.
So it's going to be Marvel's version of JLA Avengers to wrap this phase.
I mean, they're really good at hiding certain things and sneaking things in there without anybody actually, knowing.
In plain sight, too.
So it's like, wow, okay. So yeah, that's very interesting. That's
the big thing buzzing around right now.
The one thing I did not get at the end was, like, she was sitting on the porch drinking coffee and she goes in, but it's not actually her. She's actually in the bedroom hovering over the bed doing, like, weird stuff. Like, what was that all about?
That's her mental. Remember. She still has she has the mind gem in her. Okay?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So she's able to be in two places at once. What you're seeing physically is her taking her coffee and walking inside her little ramshambles, her shack. At the very end, spoilers. And then, but mentally she's studying and stuff, and she's learning, not necessarily Mephisto, but the Scarlet Witch turns out is not necessarily for the agent of Satan, but for somebody who's like and this is hilarious, another dimensions version of Mephisto. Chthon, whatever. It's not Cthulhu because then they'd have to pay Lovecraft royalties. It's something else. But so that's what she was doing there, and then when, spoiler, she hears her kids at the last second, she's studying this other dimension's power, this other dimension's bad guy. So she's learning all these things, and she's picking up her kids in this other dimension. So now she needs to figure out how she's going to...
So that right there also brings back to what you were just talking about. Wow. That's a lot to take in.
So there's a lot to take in. But there was a whole lot of heavy lifting done in this episode, which, honestly, I mean, considering the entire episode was pretty much the last knockdown, drag-out fight between Wanda and Agatha Harkness, it's a little unfulfilling. It's nice seeing the little goodbyes at the end and stuff, but there's a lot more questions left than it answered. All the superficial questions have been answered. All the deeper questions are what's going to be addressed in the rest of these things. So, and Thor: Love and Thunder is still going to suck. But anyway, yep, that's coming.
What do you mean it's going to suck?
It's going to suck. Jane Foster is going to be Thor. It's going to suck. Jane Foster is not into groovy 70s rock.
Hold on. All right. Look, you can't say it sucks. You cannot say it sucks. And I'll tell you the reason why.
Why?
Tiki Watiti.
Tiki Gaviti? What?
Tiki Watiti. I don't even know if I'm saying this.
Watch your mouth, right. Boy.
Tiki is the dude that also did the good Thor movie. The
one good Thor movie.
Yeah. And he is amazing at all of the movies that he's actually done. And he's doing this one, so I actually think it's going to be good. Because this dude is hilarious. Even in real life, he's hilarious.
Which of the Marvel films is Sam Raimi doing? Is he doing the next Spider-Man? I don't think he
No.
is. I know he's doing one of the new Marvel films, but I can't remember which one. It's not Doctor Strange 2 either. It's one of these. I heard something about Sam Raimi was involved in one of his films, and I can't place it.
Don't know what.
I'm going to start bringing my tablet in here with me so I can, or else research what we're going to say before we come in here and say it. But anyway,
Well, we never know what we're
we'll
gonna
find
say.
out sometime.
We just
I'll find
flow.
out sometime and include it in the
just flow.
description of this video somewhere. But, anyway, so anyway, what else happened this week?
Oh, are we done with Wanda?
Yeah, I'm done with Wanda. I've hard my hands on Wanda. Go ahead. Although I am actually looking forward to seeing Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, when does that start?
Doesn't it start next week?
Does it?
I think so. Because wasn't Disney supposed to be, now don't hold me, again, read the description of this video before you say anything, because I'll have to wind up verifying the information. But it seems to me like they were going to be doing one show, and then another show, and then another show
Which
right
is
after.
Smart. That's what they
And that's
actually
what the
need to do.
CW is doing with Superman and Lois. As soon as they run out of episodes on that,
What did you think of the? Did you watch the second?
Yeah, that second episode was fun. I'm enjoying myself on that. Now I heard the 7-day. Okay, now the ratings. They don't pay so much attention to the overnight ratings anymore. It gives them a basic figure. What they look at are the 7 days, the 3-day and the 7-day, where people are watching, like on Hulu or on their cable company's app or whatever. They're looking at people who are watching 7 days after the show airs live on the network. Okay, 7-day for total viewage for Superman and Lois, 3.5 million, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that is astronomical for the CW. They haven't had a show rank like that in years, since Smallville, I think.
Yes, and not to mention, after they made this decision after one episode of Superman and Lois, second season already been signed up.
Mhm.
And we was right too.
And if Berlanti's smart, he's signed everybody up to multi-season, because it's Greg Berlanti. CW doesn't exist without Greg Berlanti at the moment, because he's providing 90% of the programming. If he hasn't signed all these people up for multiple season contracts, I would be shocked. So hopefully that includes the production crew too, because they really deserve a lot of credit.
They deserve a whole lot.
It's not so much Greg Berlanti's baby. He was more like the OBGYN who helped deliver it. But
I mean, and there's people already pointing out that what we pointed out before on the budget, that it looks like the special effects looks like they did a whole lot there. A lot of people are like, man, they really put a budget in this one, because the him flying around, the special effects and stuff looks amazing. And I'm like,
you know, this is going straight to HBO Max too. But that's the other thing of this one and the fight between the Visions in WandaVision 9, episode 9.
yes,
All the flying scenes, I think they're finally starting to get a good feel for filming a flying fighting scene, where you're actually getting kind of distant views, and it's kind of shaking a little bit because you're kind of like being buffeted by the air, and then boom, and they take off. And so I gotta admit, I'm kind of digging that vibe that we're getting from Superman and the Vision on those.
they're doing good. I mean, back in the day, everybody saw, oh, Superman fly, and they're like, oh, that's how people fly. You know? It's like everything like that is non-Superman related, it's like that's how people fly. If people could fly, that's how they would fly. And it's like, not really, but I mean, okay, that's the way you want to go. But those were the old days. So yeah, they did a whole lot nowadays that it just looks awesome. So, but yes, disappointing on the Flash.
The Flash has a lot of baggage they have to pick up and move around. I am honestly hoping they just break Iris's mirror and move on, but I swear, understand, I've been a Flash fan for decades now, and I knew Iris Allen way back then, and I liked her, but about the time I really noticed the Flash, that was where the Reverse Flash killed Iris Allen just before the Crisis on Infinite Earths. And then Barry goes away. We wind up with Wally West, and Wally West winds up marrying Linda Park. So we get Linda Park West, and I swear this Iris is far more like Linda Park West than she is Iris Allen. Even though they're both reporters, it's almost... But the other thing, too, is that Linda, Wally West's wife, was actually a much better developed character than Iris has been. Iris is a shrew. And I'm not talking about the killer shrews. I'm talking about she is a shrew. Oh my God. No wonder Barry is just a complete mass of conflict. Because if I had to deal with her the way he does, there'd be molecules of her scattered all over the planet by now. I'd just run through her so hard. But anyway.
Yeah, sadly, when The Flash came on, it was the only good, even with its flaws, it was the only good thing that was actually on the CW.
Yeah.
To be honest.
The bar's been raising.
But it's like with this episode, and this was the first episode of this season, with this episode, I was like, oh my goodness, why are we dealing with Wells again? Like, I'm getting so tired of Wells. Like, kill him already. Keep bringing him back in different...
And what's with the artificially flavored Speed Force? I don't get... Artificially flavored, artificially colored, artificial... I guess it's vitamin fortified. I don't know.
It's like, hey, we know a way to get your speed back. And it's like, really? You spent the entire last season trying to figure it out, and you just figured it out in like that.
Well, I could figure it out just like that. You want to know how you get the Flash's speed back? You get better writers. Anyway. The Flash has always been a problematic character to write anyway because he moves just this shade short of the speed of light. So who can react by the time he gets there?
The sad part is that there's so many bad guys, but this is what they do. So far, they deal with how many Welleses that they can bring in. And he's always taken on another speedster, no matter what. Either from...
Because it's the only way you can get anybody on equal footing with them. They don't know how to write the character.
And it's like, it's just...
And it takes all season for the two speedsters to meet because they don't have any other way to keep some kind of anything hanging over his head.
There was one bad guy that he went up against that I thought was actually a good story. But that was the dude that was really smart in a wheelchair.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember what the guy's name is, but he had this, his wife was like the Egyptian lady
Yes,
who
I remember.
helped and stuff like that. That was I thought that whole thing was actually well told. But that was like the only character that I thought was interesting. It's like...
Again, it's frustrating. Okay. Look. Again, I like the Flash. I like the character of the Flash. I like the concept of the Flash. The writers on this series and the producer, Greg Berlanti, wrong vision to go with. No pun intended, okay? You guys had the wrong vision going in. You were determined that you were going to do Flashpoint. You wanted Barry Allen. Wrong choice. Wrong choice, wrong choice, wrong choice. You can ask Scott down at Scott's Comic Relief, 420 East Main Street, Mount Sterling, Kentucky, Suite E, because you always want sweeties with your 420s. Anyway, you can ask Scott, you can ask anybody who has paid attention to the comic book industry over the last decade, how great was the New 52? Right in your face, okay? Now, Flashpoint was actually came up before the New 52. The New 52 is Flashpoint's fault. Flashpoint was what brought Barry back and reestablished him as the primary Flash. That's the one that got rid of Wally West as the Flash. Okay. I gotta admit, I was not a fan of Wally West back in the 80s when he first became the Flash. Okay.
That could have been a great spin-off from this series, too.
Not using the Wally West they had. No.
On
that
the
Wally
show?
West, yeah, not on the show. That Wally West sucked because that was Straight
they
up.
really have time to. They didn't
No,
make
straight
them
up
do
tokenism is what it was. Anyway, the Flash in the 90s under Mark Waid. Mark Waid, I love you. You're not quite Jeff Johns, but oh my goodness, you try so hard, and I respect you so much for it. And I will give anything you write a try, but I won't give it a second try. But I will give it a try, Mark. He took Wally West, pretty much wrote that for years and years and years, and he managed to. When he got Wally West was an a-hole. Okay, Wally West was a jerk. Wally West couldn't run anywhere without stopping and consuming about 5 kajillion calories in order to keep his, because they thought that was being clever back in 1986. He was being stupid. He fixed all of that. Mark Waid fixed all of that. He introduced Linda Park, got them married. They wound up having kids. He also introduced Barry Allen's grandson, Bart Allen, who was Impulse. He also introduced Jay Garrick into the Flash storyline. He also introduced Jay's wife, Joan, into the storyline. The fact they never had kids, that's why they treated all the other Flashes as being parts of their family, because they never had kids of their own, so they adopted every Flash and every person who was important to a Flash as a part of their family. Now all of a sudden you've got all these different characters. They're all well developed. They all have extensive histories. All this interactivity and stuff. Oh no, let's piss all that away so we can, because Flashpoint was killed, K-E-W-L.
Sure.
You blew it, you blew it, you blew it. Went the wrong way, zigged when you should have zagged, went left when you should have gone right.
That's why everybody's so excited with the Flash movie that is coming out. But the truth is, that's what they're going to do.
They're doing it all over again.
Point.
It's the Flashpoint. They think that is the only storyline that anybody cares about.
And if you're going to do, this is Flash's first and so far would be only movie, and they're doing Flashpoint, which is a big mistake because it's not about the Flash.
Yeah, it's about making an excuse to cover up all the mess you've made beforehand.
But now I thought about something when I was watching the Flash. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You know, they could put 2 characters in there that I thought they should have had more of a storyline or something that they could do stuff with, but nobody's ever done. I don't know what their names are, but they were twins. I think they were Mexican.
From the Teen Titans, you're thinking?
Yeah, the 2 little, like, speedy...
Mossy Manos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, you know what, you can actually do something with those 2. And it would actually be really good and probably funny.
That's another lost opportunity because that was not Mexican, but
Were they?
Wally and Linda had twins, and they were known as the Tornado Twins. But,
So they weren't Mexican?
no, well, the ones you remember from Teen Titans were Mexican. They were Mexican speedsters, Mossy Manos, but they were in some kind of weird sync. I never quite got the concept behind that. But again, it's an idea. But
I was thinking kids to Wally and them.
I'm thinking with Superman and Lois, episode 2, I know it's probably not going to pull 3.5 million over 7 days, but it's going to pull a strong number. And to be honest, as its reputation grows, this may be one of the rare things that happens in modern television where the audience actually grows. Ooh, imagine a comic book industry where books were selling in the millions instead of the thousands, kind of like manga does. Now imagine a TV show that actually picks up viewers instead of losing viewers week after week. The CW wouldn't know what the hell to do with it. Oh, actually, I know what would happen. CBS would take it away from it. But
I'm telling you, like, if you decided to do TV shows based off of heroes when they're older, kind of like what they're doing with Superman and Lois, but like they're older enough to where they're kind of on that retiring age. Not like they're not retired, but they're kind of just like, hey, you know, I'm happy, I'm settled down. Like, I still think if you had a show where Batman was married to Wonder Woman and maybe have a kid, and stuff like that. That would actually be an awesome show.
Yeah,
Oh God,
although
that'd be a
that's
great
kind of
show.
veering into injustice territory there.
I
The
like
video
that
game.
idea.
But anyway. And that's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not I've seen the Batman Wonder Woman shipping, like they did on in the Justice League cartoon. I'm like, nah.
But I think it would be awesome because they would have I want to say daughter, not a, but you would have a boy, you would have a kid there, a young man who would be become Nightwing or something. But you would have their daughter who would have the powers of Wonder Woman, but the brains and the martial arts skill of Batman. Just saying. It would be cool. I wouldn't put it on the CW though.
No, I don't
But I wouldn't make it too dark to where it's like, oh, this is really violent. But on the edge of awesomeness.
I think I could use another drink. I think Stargirl's coming back out for season 2, okay?
Uh-huh.
Now remember, this is the one that Jeff Johns has a personal hand in running. Okay. Now the concept you had about older heroes taking in a guiding hand for younger heroes and stuff. That's the Justice Society of America for the last 30 years or so, which Jeff Johns pretty much shepherded through. Just like Mark Waid did Flash, that's what Jeff Johns did. He shepherded the Justice Society. Dan DiDio has been trying to murder the JSA for decades. All DC editorials wanted to murder the JSA for decades because it's so old. Who wants to read a bunch of old guys? Because those old guys are more interesting than 90% of the schlubs you've been pushing, which is why you want them dead so they will stop outselling your crap. Anyway, Stargirl, I honestly believe, is going to bring the Justice Society back and finish bringing them back in season 2, because we've seen hints of it in season 1. We're starting to see, because you got Hourman in there, you got Dr. Midnight, you got the others popping up.
Yeah.
So you're seeing connections to Justice Society. And again, this is Jeff Johns' baby. The only person on Earth who loves the Justice Society more than moi is Jeff Johns. Because, again, he's the continuity porn purveyor for the ages. He absolutely adores tying old stuff together into new stuff. I honestly think that if they can spin a JSA series out of Stargirl, or even get because Stargirl is a member of the Contemporary Justice Society of America, if they can do that and put Jay Garrick in there, put Stargirl, as far as I understand, does not occur in the same Earth. Or does it? I don't think it occurs on the same Earth that The Flash and all these other shows are based in, are they?
I don't think so. Otherwise, they would have mentioned them.
Yeah, I don't think so. So I think that if you got that, oh boy, this is Vince McMahon, the guy who owns the WWE or runs the WWE. He has a name for it he calls it mental masturbation. This is where you just sit here and you just jerk around, come up with ideas. If this is on a different Earth, now remember, Justice Society was created back in 1940. Guess who the 2 biggest heroes were back in 1940?
You mean, back in the comics?
In the comic books. Who were the 2 biggest heroes?
1940? Superman.
And?
Batman.
Yeah, it's not that hard. This is not a difficult question. Hey, how about a 70-year-old Superman who's the mayor of Metropolis? Hey, here's an idea. How about a 68-year-old Bruce Wayne who's police commissioner of Gotham? Commissioner Wayne. And, by the way, Commissioner Wayne is a widower, and his dead wife is Selena Kyle. But they had a daughter about 30 years ago named Selena. Only she prowls the criminal underworld by night as the Huntress. because she has her daddy's intelligence and planning ability, and her mommy's skill with a whip.
You coming up with this shit, Anderson?
No, this was done back in 1976.
I've never read this.
Continuity porn, baby. It is lovely. Yeah, I know you've never read it. I've got a book over here, Justice Society of America's 75-year celebration. That's how old they were when this book was written. I'm going to give it to you, and I'm going to let you look through it, because they cover this. They cover all of this stuff over the years. You would be gobsmacked at some of the stuff the JSA's gotten away with over the years.
Sounds great. I'm still a big fan.
Actually, Superman was not mayor of Metropolis. Clark Kent was the managing editor of the Daily Star. And Lois Lane had to report to him. And she never let him forget it either, because she knew, because they were married way back in 1976, before everybody else got the idea. They were married way back in the 70s, and she was busting Clark's chops back then because, well, this is something Superman should take care of, don't you think, Clark? Oh, it was wonderful stuff.
All the women he could have been with.
Bob Rozakis and Elliot S. Magan and all you guys. I love you guys. Anyway. And the best part is, the youngins of the Justice Society were in a group called the All-Star Squadron. Do you know what their initials were? The All-Star Squadron? Justice Society of America was JSA. The Justice League of America was the JLA. The All-Star Squadron is... Yes, it was. Yeah. And the other writers never let Roy Thomas forget it either, because he was the one who came up with the idea. That was the one that had Power Girl and the Huntress, and Robin was in there as Batman's representative, because the Huntress was basically Catwoman's representative.
Wow.
And Power Girl was Superman's representative. And the Star Spangled Kid was there. That was Star Girls.
What's sad? You know what's so sad?
This is interesting as hell, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Compared to what you're seeing on the CW show.
You know what's sad, though, is like, they could do so much with Power Girl, but nobody
knows how to write her.
Exactly, because you know why?
Because you got big bazungas.
Yes. And nobody wants to be like, yeah.
It's actually a story. Did I ever tell you the story about Power Girl's bazongas?
No.
Okay. Look, we need to go ahead and wrap this, because we've been at this for a while. Okay, we're going to wrap this real quick, okay? If you've never heard of an artist named Joe Stanton, okay, he was the guy who did a lot of the artwork for... No, I take that back. It wasn't Joe Stanton. Joe Stanton was the one who took over after. It was Wally Wood. Please forgive me, Wally, wherever you are. Wherever you are. Anyway, Wally Wood was one of the original gang of idiots at Mad Magazine. Okay? And he did some of the best work on the EC horror mags back in the 50s. He got blacklisted in the industry for a while. So he stuck around with Mad. He started working his way back into comics and stuff. He was the one who designed Power Girl, because they wanted an Earth 2 version of Supergirl. So Wally comes up with Power Girl. And when he first creates Power Girl, she's got this white outfit. She's got this little thing here, a little U-neck. She had a white outfit, little spandex. She had like blue gloves that she wore. She had like a red cape, okay? And she had two little yellow dots here to hold the cape on, okay? And she was roughly a B cup, okay? Wally West was working on JSA. Understand, even back in the 70s, there were people in DC editorial who hated the Justice Society because they were so old.
You said Wally West.
Wally Wood. I'm sorry. I miss Wally West too. Anyway, Wally Wood. So, what Wood does is he knows nobody in the publishing arm, like from his editor up, everybody above his editor is not paying attention to this book. So what Wally does, he takes her from a B cup to a C cup. And then a few issues later, he takes her from a C cup to a D cup. And then a few issues later, he takes her from a D cup to a double D cup. And a few issues later, from a double D cup to a triple D cup. Pretty soon, seriously, her boobs are up here with her face, and he's waiting to see if anybody in editorial will tell him to knock it off. And finally, he gets to the point, her boobs are up on her cheeks, and the editor of All-Star Squadron says, Wally, stop it. I've let you get away with it all this time, but go back and give her the breast reduction surgery. That's why she has big bazingas today, because of Wally Wood. Because he wanted to see just how far he could get away with it. Man had game. The man had
Bravo.
game. But anyway.
Drop the mic.
True story, you all. But
oh, wow.
I love Wally Wood. If you don't know who Wally Wood is, look him up. You'll love him, especially if you can find like the... and I may include a link to this if I can remember it, but Wally Wood actually came up with one sheet of paper that will teach you more about the comic book industry and artwork and layout and design than any number of comic book instruction books. It can teach you everything you need to know about making movies and setting up scenery and stuff, and how you're going to format the where you're going to put the camera, where you're going to format everything. Wally West did that all in one page. And if y'all ain't careful, I will post it to the Facebook page and to Twitter so you can see for yourself what a creative genius Wally Wood really was.
Sounds like here.
So anyway, so we're gonna. I don't even know how did we get here?
I have no idea, but
we need to change the name of this show to How Did We Get Here?
No, I was thinking what you said earlier about the masturbation thing.
The mental masturbation,
yeah.
yes.
We should have like a little, like a side show or like a
That's what you call it, mental masturbation. Nah, Vince McMahon would hit us with a copyright strike on that one.
Oh,
Anyway.